Hi, I'm Gary Lewis, and today we're going to be talking about analog tire pressure gauges. This is our economy standard tire pressure gauge. It comes in either a white face or a glow-in-the-dark face. It has a 2-inch gauge head with a nice rubber bumper. You can set your air pressures by pushing this valve body right here. And remember, this one does not hold the pressure on the gauge head like the deluxe and upper models do. It has a 14-inch gauge hose, and it comes with a ball chuck. You can get it into 0 to 15, a 0 to 30, or a 0 to 60 that you see here in the picture. This is our deluxe tire pressure gauge. It has a 2.5-inch gauge head, has a nice rubber bumper. It does glow in the dark, has a very nice billet black anodized valve body that does hold the pressure when you pull it off the tire. Also has a relief valve so you can set your air pressures. It's got a 17-inch hose with a real nice swivel fitting on the end. You can get it either with a ball chuck or an angle chuck. Those versions also come in a 0 to 15, 0 to 30, and a 0 to 60. We also made a version that's all set up to do your dualies on your hauler if you wish. It's got a high pressure hose. It's got the foot valve on the end. Tire pressure gauge goes to 100 psi. Next up is our liquid filled tire pressure gauge. It has a 2.5-inch gauge head, nice rubber bumper. It is glow in the dark. Now the liquid filled pressure gauges do have an equalizer valve to equalize the pressure internally inside the gauge head. What happens is the air temperature comes up. At the same time, the pressure inside the gauge will come up as well. So you need to equalize that pressure inside the gauge head. That's one thing that sets our gauges aside, is the equalizer valve. It also has a nice billet black anodized valve body. The 0 to 15s do have the dual bleed feature. The dual bleed is nice when you have a real big tire with lots of volume but not much pressure, like say a sprint car tire, drag race tire, something like that. This gauge has a 17-inch hose, swivel fitting on the end. You can either get it with an angle chuck or a ball chuck. These models come in a 0 to 15 with a dual bleed, 0 to 30 with a single bleed, 0 to 60 with a single bleed. Next up is our Magnum tire pressure gauge. The Magnum gauges use a 3.5-inch gauge head, glows in the dark, has a nice rubber bumper. Notice it's very big, easy to read. The Magnums also have a nice black anodized billet valve body. This is a 0 to 15, so it does have the dual bleed feature, which is nice for drag tires, sprint car tires. It has a 17-inch hose. You can get it with either an angle chuck or a ball chuck. These gauges are available in a 0 to 15, 0 to 30, 0 to 60. Another great feature about this gauge is it does come in a carrying case. Carrying cases are very nice to have to protect your tire pressure gauges so they last a long time. Now this is our professional model. We call it the Pro Precision tire pressure gauge. This gauge utilizes a huge 4-inch gauge head. The gauge glows in the dark. The range is 0 to 60. It does have a black rubber bumper on it. Has a nice billet black anodized valve body with a tire relief valve. The gauge has a 17-inch long hose with a swivel fitting and comes with an angle chuck. Now to keep your gauge nice and safe, we also include a very nice silver carrying case. Now this is our quick fill tire pressure gauge. The quick fill gauge utilizes a 2.5-inch gauge head with a rubber bumper. It does glow in the dark. The unique thing about this gauge is you can hook it up to your air source, push this button here and fill up your tire. It does have a relief valve here on the side so you can set your air pressures. This gauge has a 17-inch hose with a swivel fitting. You can get this in either a ball chuck or an angle chuck. Now the options on pressure, you can get this in a 0 to 15, 0 to 30, or a 0 to 60. For more information on tire pressure gauges or any of our other products, please visit our website at longacreracing.com.